All right, let's now spend a couple minutes to talk about how to set up a first-person shooter kind of a camera shot, almost like the ones we see a lot in like games like Call of Duty and stuff. We're gonna use the same shot we talked about before and same animation, same character animation. We're just gonna redo the camera and reposition the camera to make this kind of POV situation. So first thing first, let's just reset the whole camera keys from the last course. So we set the camera back to origin and get rid of the camera shake. And the next thing, let's place the camera to where the gun roughly is. Looking through the camera, we're gonna do a little bit adjustment. Because normally when we do the first-person shooter camera, we need to set the camera lens to a little bit wide so we capture more of the either environment or we see the full gun and the hand. So we can set the camera lens to roughly 17 or 24. You can see in the camera view, it's a pretty wide lens. We need to make sure that there's no intersection with the head, so we don't get black frames. Here we're gonna do it pretty dirty. We're gonna delete the neck and head animation and just gonna rotate the head back to in its body. So we just avoid the occlusion with the camera. Next step, we're gonna do a little trick. Basically, as you see in this kind of shot, is that the camera moves with a rough general direction where the gun is pointing, but the gun is not locked to the camera. Basically, we have a relative motion between the gun and the camera. So we need to do a little rigging, is that we need to rig the camera. We need to parent constrain the camera to the chest, but at the same time we need to parent the camera to the gun itself, so the camera shares a blended weight constraint between the chest and the camera. So it will have a little, it will just pick a midpoint of this two motion. So same thing, first thing, parent the camera to the chest controller using a parent constraint, maintain offset, rotation, and translation. So you see, now the camera looks a little bit mechanical. This next thing, let's parent the camera to the gun, so we get a little bit, so we get a shared constraint weight. Because we animated the gun animation in the previous course, now we want to add a little bit more rotation. So we're going to use the animation layer to add another layer of rotation to the gun itself. So you see, as we rotate the gun, the camera roughly follows the gun rotation, but it's not totally locked to it, because the camera is picking a midpoint between the chest motion and the gun motion. This will give a little nice fluid camera, little wiggle floaty animation when we do this kind of shot. So this is just a little trick to set up this kind of camera constraint weight, and it's pretty useful. And because we did this to constraint, we can even pick how much we want the camera motion bias to either one of them. We can ask the camera to follow the gun 80% and only follow the chest to 20%, as long as they add up as one, so it's all fine. Now just give a little more gun rotation, make it more interesting. So now you can see the camera follows the general pointing animation, but we have a little loose gun. We have the little loose gun local motion to make this shot more interesting. I have a feeling I can make the recoil animation a little faster. I remember the recoil animation is the first layer, so let's go into the graph editor and squeeze the keys and just double the recoil so we get a little more violet shake from the gun. as if it's shooting. I was thinking maybe what it will look like if I add another layer of a little, just tiny bit camera shake to this shot. Just a little bit, like tiniest bit, and camera shake on top of everything. Let's add a little bit to. Let's do the same thing. Let's just do the rotation to 3 axis and give a little high frequency. Okay. Now it looks more chaotic, and just the whole shot looks more dynamic. When we're doing this kind of a POV shot, we will try to make sure that the whole rotation and whole camera shake thing is not too disorienting. At least we want to tell the story properly. And this whole shake and whole rotation just to give the shot a little bit layer and give it more spice. Here actually in the final one, I did like 3 cuts. So first one, when the character comes out from the tree, we cut right to the third person, and as the shot goes forward, the camera snaps to the first person. Snaps to the first person. Just trying to make it a little cooler. So yeah, so that's pretty much the setup for a POV kind of shot. And because we set up the shot properly, we have the full body. We can even render out a tiny bit. We can even render out a tiny bit of the body just to help the audience to localize where we are in the world and where we are and where we're looking at. Because some of the games, when they do this POV shot, they only have the hands and arm model. They don't really have the full body. And we did this properly. We set up the full body, and so this is just a better way to do it. And especially when we render, we get the full body shadow.
Purchase genuine tutorial. Enjoy the question answering from course tutor in the long term. Join the exclusive Facebook group and learn from each other. Also, you can sign up with Yihu.com. Search for the course ID. Obtain the full learning courseware, project files. Follow us on Facebook. Get closer to become a master in CG field.